Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So we did 3 videos yesterday that were membership and Patreon videos. This one, Lesson 12, Developing Superhuman Potential, all about energy currents and archetypes. Lesson 11, all about brain waves and altered states of consciousness. And then this was a guided meditation, a practice from the Galactic Federation to help the ascension process. Again, when you go over to EE Arts or Heart's Home or Evolutionary, you'll find categories recent members only videos. Again, we're building up quite a bit of them, and we have tons of things planned. Now, I want to thank everybody for their support in every way that they are. Please do like, share, subscribe, and try to get these videos. And not just our videos, but everybody that's trying to awaken the planet so that we can develop a much better, harmonious, peaceful timeline in front of us. Bless everybody that is doing their part in shifting our timeline to a higher perspective.
Yes, and specifically, we wanted to say thank you to B, Nappy, Lawrence, William, and Jenny. Thank you so much, you guys. You help us keep it going.
Yes, we couldn't do it without you guys. And I've been noticing a lot of doves in our yard. And I think these are a message from Spirit saying, again, push the peace. We can do things in a peaceful manner. We don't have to be controlled by these dark demonic entities and manipulated into simply fighting each other, which is really fighting ourselves. Look at this, stunning. Oh yeah, this is from Volcaholic. They do a great job covering a lot of the weather events. Oh, amazing clouds. There's signs everywhere. Wait a minute, why does that look different or off? Well, the reality is this is a hiking trail that is now completely underwater in Brazil. Think about that. Our history is buried under the soil in the oceans. Our real history. Oh my gosh. You know, all this, the information that's coming out is absolutely mind-blowing. You know, if you can imagine, let's look at the Celestine prophecy. There's a lot of truth there. There was a series of books about the Celestine prophecy. There was a video, a movie that was kind of cheesily acted, but it's absolutely worth looking at because the reality is we are coming to, I think, a divergent point in our history in more ways than one. People are waking up. Here's Doc Pete Chambers. This is, wait a minute, we just had flooding over here, didn't we? The Lampasas River, 190 Bridge in Kempner, Guadalupe River, flood update, you know, power lines in the water. That's dangerous, guys. Please be very careful out there. In fact, here you go. These storms look so demonic. The way they just bubble up out of nowhere. Kerr County, Texas, flash flood warning. Lives are at stake. Again, you know, everybody, please put out your positive intentions, your prayers. Your intentions matter, and your prayers matter. Your energy, your consciousness matters more than you can imagine. And I guess we have to really, in these times, kind of lay down, set aside our differences, agree to disagree on some things, and work together to put out a positive outcome. When you see, again, this, a lot more people are catching on to the fact that these storms seem to be just popping up out of nowhere. You know, Texas always seems to be the center of the bullseye in more ways than one. You have massive thunderstorms last night into today. Residents claim the thunder sounded like explosions all over the state. Into Thin Air does a great job. John Levy was doing another one. He was talking about Uruguay, and you might not think of Uruguay ever in your life, you know, especially if you're from, say, not from the Americas. Absolutely beautiful, small country with an amazing history, and it seems to have a propensity for a lot of star forts. And when you look at where Montevideo is and Buenos Aires, they're pretty far down south. And they are pretty good-sized cities. But what you see is there's a lot of evidence that points to, I think this world was more populated in the past than it is right now. And that's not what the history tells us.
Well, I think it is too. I think there's a huge cover-up going on.
Yeah, but if you ask Grok or ChatGPT or, again, the AI that now they're selling us, and I feel there's more of a push against AI than they want people to realize. I think a lot of people have this instinctive recoiling at letting AI take over every aspect of our lives. And people will gladly take technology that's beneficial without imposing on us all sorts of rules and obligations and conditions. Oh, yeah. Read the fine print, everybody.
Well, I don't think AI would be so bad if it were here to just really help humans, but it has a different motive. I ran one of those, I ran a Prashna chart on AI, and oh my gosh, what came up? What is AI's ultimate goal? And what came up was just mind-blowing and very upsetting. And I don't even like to talk about it, but ultimately it's here to take our identity, and it's not good.
Yes, KRS is maybe the top. He's one of the top Vedic astrologers out there in YouTube land. And yeah, I thought it was very insightful to see KRS say, when you talk about AI, you're talking about an ancient technology. And this is, again, the difference with somebody that has studied everything from the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Puranas, the Upanishads, the Vedas, and gone deep in. That there's extraterrestrial life out there. There's ultra-terrestrial life right here. And there's inner Earth civilizations. There are so many different beings around us all the time. It's spoken of very clearly. In fact, there is in the Bhagavata Purana a part where beings descend down in a saucer-shaped ship, land on Earth, and come and talk to people about, again, Vishnu. It's like they're coming from a different world to tell people about these high-level beings and how the universe works. This is right there in these ancient texts, clearly stating there's extraterrestrials, there's interdimensional beings, there are demonic beings, there are angelic beings. There's all the above. And I do like the term ultra-terrestrial because it incorporates interdimensional with extraterrestrial, with inner Earth, and also beings that live under the sea. Again, not SpongeBob.
No, they're everywhere.
Meanwhile, everywhere we look, this is Spain. Flooding leaves cars underwater, streets turn into rivers in Spain, severe thunderstorms, nearly 4 inches of rain in an hour. Let's look all the way over to New Zealand. 8 inches of rain overnight, landslips, floods, an insane amount of damage. Every corner of the globe, you're finding major floods, major issues. And then we have this. Creep measurements along the Concord Fault show consistent right lateral motion of 2 to 3 millimeters a year. Well, that sounds small, right? That's not huge. But again, what we have is this setup for massive quakes on the West Coast, Cascadia, San Andreas. The experts will tell us it's overdue. The experts will tell us back in 1700 there was somewhere between a 9.0 and a 9.5 that hit the Pacific Northwest and literally changed the coastline, wiped away complete villages of people that were living there at that time. And it could happen again. Well, here, this newly mapped area shows there's slippage going on, major slippage in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. It's just a matter of time. But again, I do think that we can put our intention and our prayers out there that our beloved family members, because we have tons of them that are living in this area, be kept safe through all this. So I do think that at some point in time, you're going to have the major quakes come. It's going to certainly be disruptive. I mean, we've noticed a lot of strange power outages that are inexplicable. We've noticed a lot of technology that doesn't seem to be doing so well. So, this is something that shows there's great changes underfoot. Now, this is, we're talking millimeters, 2 to 3 millimeters a year. That's not, an enormous amount. Yet at the same time, is the big one inevitable? Yes, it is, but it doesn't have to be catastrophic. And we could look back to our past and see that there has been a lot of catastrophic events on this planet. Look over here, Seattle, Washington, 1906. Look at the buildings. And again, how far down do we go? How many civilizations, I want to point out Paris, for instance. I mean, the underground that's known to be in Paris is just enormous. London, too. I venture to say it'll be the same thing in Moscow and New York City and many of these major metropolitan areas. Because as we've also shared, underneath the biggest, most populated metropolitan areas, there are other entities that have cities down there. And they tend to be a little bit on the slimy side, scaly, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this is the reality. Everywhere we look, we see our civilizations built on top of our ancestors who went before us. And at some point, we also notice that the deeper you go, the more advanced it seems to be. And also, the people seem to be living more in harmony with the planet and each other. In fact, again, we go over to the Indus Valley area. We go over to Pakistan. We go over to Afghanistan. And even some of the others, like the other stands, like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. And you'll find civilization cities, people coming together with, no weapons of war present anywhere, no ruling elite, no power structure with kings and queens, no authoritarian dictatorships. People seem to understand how to get along. How could this possibly be? Because they are leftovers from the previous Bronze Age. And the Kali Yuga did its best to, wipe out the evidence. Look at this. St. Petersburg. Mud flood evidence all over the world. You want to just pick a spot and go digging. You're going to find evidence. It's all over the place. They've buried our history, and then they've fabricated a new history.
I would like to know who's in charge of giving us our history anyhow, and do they ever have to go back, and are they ever shown how that this was not true or that was not true? I don't know. Not only have the science books been rewritten a million times, the history books too. I don't know. What do we do? What do we do with this?
And it doesn't seem logical to make a book that's literally 36 inches by 60. Why would you make a book that big? Well, you got a lot of story to tell. Yeah, but no. And there's photos of giants. Yes, some things have been doctored, but other things haven't. In fact, again, I encourage people to, read the Chaldean Genesis account because, again, we go from a monotheistic point of view to a polytheistic. And if we're really talking polytheistic, what are we really talking? We're talking just about beings, conscious beings, that just simply have more technology than we do. And speaking of that, Ancient Interstellar Object 31 Atlas offers first glimpse into thick disk comet chemistry. So again, they give us this whole story. Interstellar Comet 31 Atlas, first observed by the Atlas Survey in Chile on July 1st, 2025, that was just 12 days ago, is the third confirmed object of its kind to enter the solar system. Analysis of its hyperbolic trajectory and inward velocity of about 58 kilometers a second confirms its extrasolar origin, while kinematic modeling suggests it formed in the Milky Way's ancient thick disk, offering a rare opportunity to study early galactic comet chemistry. Oh, really? Wow, this is fascinating. Again, it's going to take this orbit, go inside of the orbit of Mars, approaching us, and then move out. Again, if I was a suspicious type, I would think there's probably entities on there. That in reality, it's not an icy ball of rock and again, ice. No, it's probably a ship. And, I asked Cindy to feel into it. What do you sense?
Well, it feels like a very comfortable, small group of people that know each other very well. So they know where they're going, they know what they're doing, and, much more advanced than we are when it comes to technology and just their own beings that are full of wisdom. I get a good vibe from it. Maybe a group of 5 or 6 kind of on their way to do something, maybe to teach on another planet.
Can you sense any, like where they come from as far as, do you sense that they're reptilian, avian, humanoid, something totally bizarre?
No, well, I sense that they're more humanoid, not super bizarre, but a little bit bigger than us, and they look very similar to us. I see a little bit of weirdness on the face, the facial structure with the hair, like really thick eyebrows and really thick. What is this right here? I forget on the guys.
Oh, like
sideburns.
Sideburns.
Yes,
Yeah,
so they have lamb chops. See, so they have big, thick eyebrows. They have lamb chops, but they're very pleasant, and I do believe they're probably a ship full of very ancient beings that are going to teach on another planet, and someday we'll have them coming here too. These are beings that go, they make themselves known, they teach, they guide, and they do their best with new life, and they go on.
Well, thank you for sharing what you're feeling and your impressions. By the way, Netherlands is ready to ration electricity to ease the power grid stresses. Yeah, see, this is again what we're seeing. It is a splitting of the world in more than one way. Again, this is part of people making choices. How much are you going to go along with the system and live in the system's, cities, those cellular cities, those 15-minute cities, all the conveniences you would ever need. You wouldn't ever have to leave anywhere. You wouldn't have to ever take a plane trip. You can vacation in your own backyard. Yes, maybe get your universal basic income. Maybe even you'll get awarded something because of decisions that people made years past, going specifically back to maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. Well, they're going to show us technologies to clean up the environment because we haven't had to use the energy sources that we've been using. In fact, I do think part of the reason why we use the energy sources that we've been using is because they do take a toll on the environment. They're toxic and they bring about all sorts of long-term poisoning effects on the properties of all of us that are dwelling here. When you look to this, Cambridge researchers find gut bacteria could help remove the forever chemicals from the body. Yeah, those PFASs that are linked to cancer and other serious illnesses. Again, I would try to avoid drinking out of plastics as much as possible. The estrogens certainly could have an effect on the system. Those forever chemicals that many people were warning about, 10, 20 years ago, more. And now, the scientists will admit to that. I do think that they'll be showing us technologies perhaps given to us by some ultra-terrestrials to help us clean up the environment. And even, when it comes to the microbiome, again, you want to build up the right species of gut bacteria. And so these are some common in fact, they've identified 9 bacterial species that can absorb up to 75% of toxic PFAS from their surroundings. So, it's not impossible to clean this environment. It's not impossible to clean our own bodies. We just have to be aware of what we can do to help the process.
We do, and there's a lot of things that we have not been told deliberately to keep us not feeling well. And, this is one of them, just simply not educating people on how important their little bugs are all over their body.
How about some 2,000-year-old acupuncture needles? Here you go. Yep, world's earliest steel acupuncture needles found. Again, it goes back to the Yellow Emperor in that classic book. When you look to traditional Chinese medicine, it's all about maintaining balance in the body. And really, we've gotten so far away from understanding that we need to maintain balance in our bodies, also in our minds, and, when it comes to our emotions.
We do. And figuring these things out, we are here on this planet to work together, work with one another, and help each other through these times. And this is just super cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of looks like Rama lying there.
He looks exactly like Rama lying there, because except for this guy, he has his ears are pointed, but it's all good. He's just handsome as can be.
As always, guys, thank you for your support. Come join us over on Patreon or YouTube memberships as well. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.